Here, back to back to back. And our good friend Matt Tait, Lawrence Journal-World, joins us now here on SicEm 365 Radio, 365 Sports. And Matt, number one seeds, all gone except for Kansas. They're alone as in that regard. Is there a little, and I know this just from my own home living with a Kansas fan, but is there a little nervousness and consternation with the fan base that they're the last man standing?
Oh, my God, yes. You write something like that, and then they yell at you and say, well, way to jinx it. Why'd you do that? And I'm like, well, I hate to break it to you guys, but I have no control over any of this. So I'm just reporting facts, and that was a big night last night. I mean, to watch two one seeds go down on the same night, and all of a sudden, yeah, I mean, it's never happened where they've all four gone out before the Elite Eight, and KU's in a great position, and if they can find a way to win tonight, they'll be the Vegas favorite probably to win this whole thing. So, fans are fans, and they're always going to be nervous no matter what. They were nervous in the first round game, but this thing continues to play out in a very favorable way for Kansas, and now they just have to take advantage of it.
Matt, you saw a lot of Texas Tech all year. Just looking at the Big 12, Iowa State obviously has yet to play, and then Houston not in the Big 12 now, but there's that buddy there that is going to be here pretty soon. But in terms of Texas Tech, what did you think of seeing them in their season end last night?
Yeah, it's a tough loss, man. They're as good as anybody. I think they could beat anybody. Obviously, they've shown that over the year. And you just, I mean, as a Big 12 follower and someone who's really impressed with Mark Adams, it's really easy to root for that guy. So it was hard to see them go down, and I know 95% of the country was rooting for them because everybody wants Coach K to go out. I understand that, but it's also kind of cool that Coach K is still alive and doing his thing. So, what a game, though. I mean, that one could have gone either way, and Tech is obviously in really good hands with Adams, and I think he's the kind of coach that he's going to keep recruiting. He's going to keep getting guys that fit his system, and it doesn't matter who they are, what their names are, what their pedigree is. He's going to coach them up, and they're going to be a factor every single year. So, they proved that this year, and they're going to be back, no question about it.
Matt, when it comes to this game tonight against Providence, Ed Cooley, I've watched some of the press conferences. He's not afraid of anything. I mean, he's not backing down. He feels, I think it kind of feels like his team is underseeded at 4 a little bit to hear him talk about it. What do you think about the matchup tonight that Kansas is going to have to take on?
Well, he was a machine yesterday. I mean, you're right. The Rodney Dangerfield, I get no respect, was dripping off of every word he said, and I've never seen a coach at the end of a press conference. He went on about the respect thing, and he said nobody expected us to be here, nobody wanted us here, but Providence is in the damn building. And then the last words he said were, "Drop the mic." And so you can't help but laugh. I mean, he's passionate, and I also thought it was really funny that a couple hours later when Bill Self was on the podium, he talked about what you just said, that they may be underseeded and they win the Big East and they're behind Villanova in the seed lines and things like that. And Self said, I get it, but golly, we don't think they're not getting any respect. We respect the hell out of them. So it was kind of a little bit of a back and forth there just for fun, but it's a tough matchup. There's no doubt. I mean, Kansas, this region has opened up a little bit with the bottom side being the 10 and the 11, but everybody sees every year that none of that matters. And so I think Kansas has a bunch of veterans, a bunch of guys that are they haven't really reached this stage, but they're experienced enough in these types of games, and especially their coaching staff is that I think preparation is probably a big part of this one tonight. And this is Cooley's first Sweet 16 game as a head coach, and not Bill Self's first. This is his 14th. So I don't know that matters when the ball goes up tonight, but I do think that it could matter Monday through today, and we'll see if that does play a role at all. But KU seems loose to me. They seem like they're having fun. They're enjoying the ride. They respect Providence. There's no question about it. They know that if they don't show up and play well, this team has more than enough, and it's its own set of veterans that can absolutely show up and send KU home. So I think they'll be really locked in. I think they're enjoying the ride. And I think it comes down to the most simple part of this thing is if they defend the 3-point line well enough, they'll win the game. And that's been a problem all year. And it was a problem last week against Creighton. But, other than that, I mean, it's one of those things where there's so much that goes into winning and losing a game at this time of year that it's hard to just pinpoint one thing and say, this is it. But I think that's it. I think that's as simple as it gets. I think if Providence doesn't go lights out and shoot 45% or crazier, from the 3-point line, that is, I think KU wins, and then they're in the Elite Eight, and that would be the 11th or 9th time, I think, under Self, and then and then the pressure really ramps up because then you're playing a double-digit seed to go to the Final Four, and who wouldn't sign up for that at the beginning of the year? So it's a whole other level of pressure at that point, but I think it's one that they would be more than willing to face and are absolutely hoping they get.
Matt, I remember conversations as the season was getting underway with you, other college basketball writers, other Kansas writers, and before he had really done much, Remy Martin was already a very hot topic and probably mentioned more than just about anybody on that roster, it felt like, and it's taken him a little while, but what's it like to see, especially here recently, him turn into the Remy Martin that everybody was talking about 5 months ago?
What an ace in the hole, right? I mean, I'm trying to break the story that says he was sandbagging all year and just waiting for this. I don't think I'm going to find that. I think knowing the guy a little bit, I think, he would have much rather been playing all year because he loves this game. You see it in the way he plays. It killed him to be out. But at the same time, he was always gearing up and trying to point toward this as sort of the storybook ending for him. And that's why he shut it down. That's why he tried to get fully healthy instead of trying to play through it at 70 or 80%. And it worked out, man. I mean, just by the hair of your chin type of thing. I mean, they didn't have much more time to spare, but he does look fully healthy. He looks crazy explosive, crazy quick. He is a different element that Kansas hasn't had all year. And what's crazy about that to me is that this is a team that won a bunch of games without it and still positioned themselves to be in that number one seed conversation. And then you get him back and it's like, wow, who adds a free agent like that at the end of the season and gets to, make a playoff push type of thing. So it's been crazy fortunate for them and it's been cool to watch it work out for him because he is a very passionate dude. He loves this game and he's enjoyed his time at Kansas, even though part of it's been frustrating. So, for him to go out there and be the difference maker, I mean, I think the idea here and within that locker room is that, he's really just getting started. I think they think he can continue to take his game and their team to higher levels. And what an advantage to have that as you're trying to make a run to the Final Four or perhaps beyond. So, it's been very cool to watch that play out, as frustrating as it was for him. But there's no question that he's the difference maker, and he's played really well in the last 5 games, all of them postseason games. So, no reason to expect he won't tonight. But this is why he came to Kansas. This stage right here, he didn't even think about getting here with Arizona State, and so this is why he came. And if he's not fired up, something's wrong. If anything, they'll probably have to calm him down a little bit because he may be too fired up tonight. But we'll see. It's cool. It's cool having it in Chicago, the United Center, tons of KU fans. It's just that's the kind of thing that these guys live for. So it'll be fun to watch them all enjoy it, but especially him.
Bill Self left him on the bench for a little bit longer than maybe normally a guy who was as hot as he was in the first half against Creighton coming out in the second half. Do you think that maybe he won't do that again this week if the same thing kind of happens?
Probably. I mean, the thing with that is he loves Juan Harris and he loves what Juan brings to the team. So it's not as easy as let's just put this guy away and forget about him, because he thinks that Juan can still add a lot, which he can defensively, setting the table. There's a lot of things that he does well, and a lot of them don't get noticed. So, you did see him against Creighton play the two together some. It's a really small look when they do that, but it's also really quick and really fast and can really cause problems the other way. So I would imagine that he, that he wouldn't mind doing that again tonight, even though the size disadvantage would be a problem. But you guys know as well as anybody. I mean, coaches at this time of year, and Bill Self in particular, he'd play his grandma if he thought she was going to win him the game. So if Remy's hot and Remy's being Remy and he's cooking and he thinks that's going to help them advance, yeah, he'd play him 40 minutes. But they do have a system. They do have a pretty well-established rotation, even with Remy in it now, and it's worked. So I don't see them deviating from that too much unless circumstances kind of dictate that they have to. But if they can play with a lead, if they can, take control and dictate the way the game is played, I just think we'll see what we've seen the last couple of weeks, because obviously it has been working.
Matt Tait, Lawrence Journal-World. Matt, enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Thanks a bunch. You too.
All right. It's our good friend Matt Tait, Lawrence Journal-World, on the Kansas Jayhawks, who take on Providence tonight.